Okay, so this is a 2001 Isuzu Rodeo. The EGR valve keeps throwing codes. I put seafoam in the gas tank a couple of times, excuse me, and it clears the code out, after a little while, but keeps coming back in the EGR. So the engine also seems to be idling a little rough when you start up, and I'm guessing that probably has something to do with the EGR. Anyway, I'm going to fire it up here, and we'll see what it sounds like before I clean it. Alright, so we're going to fire it up and see what it sounds like. You see the check engine light that's on. That's from the EGR. And you can see the RPMs are up. Seems like a little bit higher than they should be for idle. Let's get up in the engine compartment, you can hear it. Something just doesn't sound quite right. I'm hoping cleaning the EGR is going to take care of all that, but we'll see. We'll cut the engine off and we'll get to it. Alright, so there is the EGR. The first thing I did was, since I don't have a manual and don't know what the torque specs are, I took my torque wrench and set it up to a higher setting and gently torqued on the nuts. And if the torque wrench did not break free, then I backed it off a little bit, by small increments until finally the wrench, broke loose, and then I knew I was pretty close to the correct torque setting. So anyway, I've already done that. Now I'm going to unbolt it, and we'll see if we can't clean it. Just got two nuts, one on either side. I had to put an extension on just to get to them, but just two nuts, two bolts, excuse me, and that's all it takes. So I'm gonna save the boarding part and show you what it looks like when I take it off. Okay, I've got the bolt out of the nearest side. The back side is sort of tricky to get to, as you can see. I can't really get my fingers down there. So what I'm going to do is I've got this magnetic tool. So I got a telescoping end on it. I'm just going to stick down there and grab the bolt so I don't drop it down into the engine compartment and spend an hour trying to find it. So let's see if this works. And it's engaged. There we go. Hold it out, stick it in my magnetic part holder so I don't lose it. And now let's see if we can pull the EGR off. Okay, got it loose. There we go. And there you can see the bottom of it. Looks like the gasket is probably shot. I'll have to inspect it further here, but I think that's pretty much toast. So probably gonna have to go to the auto parts store and get a new one of those, and that could be contributing to the problem. So anyway, I'm going to put the camera down and try to clean this up a little bit. Okay, so I've got the EGR loose. There's the electrical connection, just snaps off. As you can see, here's the bottom of the EGR. See if I can get it in focus. It's not really focused, but anyway, the gasket pretty much disintegrated and delaminated. Part of it stuck here to the EGR itself. The rest of it is there on the mounting plate. Camera won't focus very well, but you can sort of see the piece of the gasket stuck there still. So definitely going to need a new gasket. I'm going to try to get that cleaned up. and go to the store and get a new one and try to put it back together. Okay, so I came into my workshop and now I'm going to try to clean up the EGR. What I'm going to do is, first I've got it clamped, just gently clamped so I can work on it. I'm going to take a little bit of seafoam, which you can buy at your local auto parts store. It's a good cleaner. And I've got a soft bristle brush. I've got a little plastic container with some seafoam in it. First I'm going to just use the brush and a rag to try to wipe off some of the residue. I'll take it out of the vise and turn it over and let it soak in the container of seafoam for a little while. Brush it down again and maybe lubricate it with a little WD-40 and see if that does the trick. So I'm going to get started on cleaning, and I'll try to show you each step as I go along. Alright, so I got my brush, dip it in the seafoam, get a little bit on there, and then see if I can't just gently clean away some of the carbon and crap that's built up on here. I'm probably going to have to do something a little bit more aggressive to get rid of that gasket that has delaminated and stuck to this. This looks like it's dissolving a lot of the buildup though. Alright, I'm going to put the camera down and work on this for a few more minutes, and show you what it looks like when I'm done. Okay, so I've got the EGR valve cleaned up pretty well. I ended up taking a flathead screwdriver right here and just sort of gently scraping the old gasket that was attached. Trying to be careful to scrape away from the ports so that I didn't, get all the debris down inside there. I'm still going to spray it out, but then I took some seafoam and dumped it in here into this port and just let it soak for, 15 or 20 minutes, and then used a couple rags to get in there and soak it up. And you can see how filthy that is. You can't see on the camera because it's too dark, but there's still some gunk down in there. So I'm also going to use some carb cleaner to, it's aerosol, so I can get it in there and spray and hopefully get all that stuff out. And then I think I'll still do one final step where I'll take it out of the clamp, turn it upside down in the seafoam bath, and just let it soak again for a while to do one last cleaning. Then I'll have to clean the mounting plate on the engine where it connects. That's got some gasket attached to it still and all sorts of carbon buildup. So I'll show you that part next. Alright, so now I'm going to work on trying to clean up this mounting plate. As you saw before, there's gasket attached to it and all sorts of other gunk. So I'm going to try to remove the gasket first with a flat blade screwdriver. Once again, trying to be careful not to knock any debris down into the tube. And then I'm going to use some either seafoam or a carbon choke cleaner to clean the residue off there. And then I should be ready to put everything back together. So I will I'll get to cleaning, and then I'll show you what it looks like after I'm done. Okay, so I've gotten the mounting plate cleaned up pretty good. Ended up finishing it off with a little bit of fine steel wool to get the rest of the gasket off of there. So now that that's cleaned up, should be ready to put everything back together. So I'll go grab the cleaned up EGR and get it back on, and we'll see how the engine runs when I'm all done. Okay, so I got the once again I got the mounting plate cleaned up and got the EGR cleaned up. Got my new gasket that I bought at the local Advanced Auto. I got the two bolts, my magnetic tool, and the torque wrench, and I'm ready to put everything back together. So the valve came out this position like that. So there's the gasket. Mounts like that. So I need to get the gasket on, get it in place. Get the EGR on. Try to get it centered up as best I can. And I'm going to take my magnetic tool and try to get the bolts in so I don't lose them. Got that one started, I think. Get it in a little bit better. Alright. Got the other one. Extend this a little bit. See if I can get it started. I'm going to have to use both hands, so I'm going to set the camera down for this. Alright, so I've got the EGR bolted back on. Used my torque wrench set to the torque setting that I determined earlier when I unbolted it. And now I just need to reconnect the electrical connection, which should just snap back on. Just like that. And fingers crossed, when I turn it back on, it'll run smoothly. I'm guessing it may sort of sputter a little bit, because some of the sea foam is probably still up in there a little bit. I don't know how that'll affect the engine at first, but I'll start it up and we'll see how it does. Alright, so we're getting ready to start the engine. Let's see how it does. Check engine light's going to stay on probably for a while. I guess I can either undo the battery and reconnect it. That should probably clear it out. Or the I guess I could take it to Advanced Auto again and they could clear it with their reader. But anyway, I'll probably drive around the block a little bit, see if it'll clear out on its own eventually, and we'll see how the engine runs. Looks like the idle is still up a little bit. I don't know if that'll settle down or that might be a separate issue. But anyway, hopefully the check engine light will stay off now that the EGR valve is clean, and hopefully I won't have to do that again for a while. Thanks for watching.